Think about the last time you sat down to study and how many screens were using and how many applications were open at the same time. A 2023 study by Jia and her colleagues that published on the AP journals of the Technology, Mind and Behavior Frontlines. The more media used simultaneously, the weaker the attention becomes and it's harder to get stopped. As students, we all want to study less and achieve more. But in this video, I will show you exactly why multitasking is making it impossible and what we can do about this. So good afternoon everyone, my name is Zhang Kaiyi and I will give a speech topic of the stop multitasking. For preparing the speech, I have studied the peer-reviewed research published on the AP journals of the Technology, Mind and Behavior, and also the journals of the Occupational and Organizational Psychology. So what I share with you today is all grounded with the scientific evidence. Multitasking is not a skill, it's a habit that essentially cuts your focus, your time, and your ability to truly rest. And to convince you of that, I will take you through three things today. The first is the problem, the multitasking creating. The second is the cause behind it. And finally, I have two concrete solutions for you. You can start using the right way. So let's begin with the problem. And the problem is more widespread than most of you realize. In today's digital and mobile media landscape, using two or more media simultaneously has become the most common form of the media use. Like texting your friends while studying, browsing internet and watching online video is a typical habit for most of us. That is confirmed by the Jia and colleagues in their 2023 study. And what does the brain do in these moments? It not always think. It not actually do two things at once. In this study, they show that the constant switch requires the brain to repeatedly relocate its limited attention resources, and every time a switch has a cost. Now you might be thinking, so what? Everyone multitasks, so what is the real harm? So here is the answer. The heavier medium tasker should lower sustained attention on the cognitive tasks, and also with some attentional problems in their daily life. That was confirmed by Jia and colleagues in their 2020 study, and importantly, this finding was replicated across the three samples and two types of the measurements. So the result is robust and not a coincidence or one-off finding. And gets further attention. The heavier medium tasker show higher motor impulsivity and the sensation seeking that make it even harder to resist the distractions and refocus. That was supported by the same study. So now we understand what the multitasking is doing to us, but the question remains, why does our brain keep falling into the trap? So that brings us to our cause. One of the multitasking is actually the rapid task switching, and each switching will force the brain to disengage from one set of rules and re-engage from another. Every time it alights, it draws from the same limited pool of the cognitive resources, a pool that is drained with every switch. A media multitasking, like texting your friends, is one of the most frequent and cognitively caused of the form of the switch in everyday life. And that was highlighted in the 2020 study by Jia and her colleagues. And it got worse, because the repeated switch has a long-term effect on our behavior. It's not just a drain in these moments. The more someone media multitasks, the more their cognitive control weakens. That is confirmed by self-reported attentional problems and the performance on the cognitive tasks. That was confirmed by Jia and colleagues in their 2023 study. And also the higher medium multitasker also linked to the higher motor impulsivity. So that means your brain has become less able to suppress the urge to switch. So that was found as well in the 2020 study by Jia and her colleagues. So this is why the habit is so difficult to break, because the repeated switching itself have weakened every control needed to stop the switch. It's like a circle that fits in itself. So now we understand the problem and we know what caused the problem. So for the part that matters most, what we can actually do about this. So let's look at the solutions. A good news is that we know exactly what causes the problem, so that we know exactly where to intervene in the problem. So I have two solutions for you, one for the cognitive side and one for the behavior side. It is how many media you use at the same time, and not how long we use them. That damages the cognitive control. So the solution is simple in principle, just use one media at once. That was concluded from the 2020 study by Ryoja and her colleagues. So in practice, that means close the every unrelated tabs and put your phone in another room and open just one application while you are studying. By removing the opportunity to switch, you eliminate the cognitive cost at the source. So that allows the brain to begin the rebuilding or sustained refocus. So that was emphasized in the 2020 study by Ryoja and her colleagues. But it's not enough. Even with one screen open, if your mind is still full of the unfinished tasks, the urge to switch is still pulling back you. So let's look at the second solutions. The weekly planning behavior, setting goals and break the tasks into the small steps, and that's significantly reduce the unfinished tasks and the rumination, and also improve the cognitive flexibility. This is confirmed by a 2020 study, a field experiment by Ulrike and her colleagues, published on the Journals of the Occupational and Organizational Psychology. When the tasks are broken into clear steps and take up one at once, your brain experiences what we call the cognitive resolution. It's no longer keep you pulling back to the unfinished tasks. That was explained by the Ulrike and her colleagues in their 2023 study. So the planning behavior directly reduces the rumination and the urge to switch. With a clear plan, you are no longer need to switch to feel in control. So we have covered the problem and the cause behind it, and also the solution. So before I leave you, let's bring it together for a conclusion. Media multitasking wakens your attention and traps you in a circle of the impulsivity. But it is a habit we can change it starting now. So I want to challenge you guys to do 2 things a week. We want you to start on study in the future. Just use only one media at once, and close every unrelated tabs, and give your 100% attention on only one task. And second, spend 5 minutes to write down the tasks for this week and break them into the small steps and take out one at once. So that's all it takes to begin. I asked you at the start, how many screens were you using when last time you study? Imagine just use only one, and imagine what your mind could do with the silence. Stop multitasking is not a dream, it is a session. Let's start from these moments after watching the video. Thank you for listening. That's all my speech.